Okay, so yesterday I was showing you some work I've done on this fender. I've done a little more hammering, a little more dollying, and I've applied some more Bondo to try to get the shape moving here on it. And really, the way I look at it, the fender, sounds funny, but to me the fender kind of talks to you. It lets you know if there's a low spot or a high spot, but you have to use your hands to find them. You know, just like right here, that's still a low spot because it's dark, and we talked about that yesterday. So as this gets sanded down and improved upon, I'll update with more pictures and more video, I should say. Another thing I wanted to look at was this hole right here. Now this hole is quite large, and what it should look like after I've started hammering out on the other fender is you can see there's a shape here that's more consistent. It's kind of an oval. What's important about that is these fenders, when they mount to the frame, which I'll show you over here, they've got these bolts sticking out, and this bolt is for the bumper mount, and that fender, it sits over this. It covers up the frame, and then the fender sits on this support and is bolted to it. Further back, you'll have your step mounted back there, and the fender will bolt to the step on the back edge. Now what I've done here is I've hammered out. The other video showed that this thing was pretty mangled, and it's still not very pretty, but at least gives me some of the shape back that I can work with. And what you'll find is on these old fenders, they had this wire that ran inside the perimeter of the edge all the way around the fender. And what that did is it gave it some support, but it also gave an area for it to roll around and not be flat. It's kind of hard to see, but there's actually it's kind of thick looking here and thins down, and what that is, and here's the other end of the wire right here. That's one piece of wire, but what happens is over time and getting beat up and used, they crack. And in this case, this is where it cracked internally, and also the sheet metal. You can see it's all ripped up. But the reason I wanted to show that was this wire, you can see it's all out of shape. What I'm going to do is restore that shape, and then I'm going to make a new patch to fill in this space on the sheet metal area, and then I'm going to start worrying about this stuff here, because this will move a little bit, but I need to have this shape correct so it looks right. And then I'll worry about these other pieces where it's cracked and missing metal, and I'll make some patches. You can see here also, it's kind of hard to tell right there, this is kinked. And what had happened was, this thing being used on the farm, this being on the front of the frame, stuff would hit this. You know, they might be pushing who knows what. You know, might have run into a dirt mound, or might have crashed through a barn or something. I don't know, but you can tell over time this is all beat up. Well, this kind of collapsed back here, and it cracked and deformed it. So there's actually a crack right there. I'll get that back into shape and weld it up. And back here, there is this piece of metal should be flat. There's a bolt that goes through there in the back of the frame. And then back here, where I was before, these three holes, 1, 2, 3, they mount the running board. And of course, this is upside down, so you have to kind of envision that. But you can see it's still, this fender's really beat up, but you know, they don't make these anymore, so you got to do what you can to save them. So that's it for now. We'll see what we can do with this thing.